All right. What's up, everybody? My voice is shot, but I'm here. I'm live. Happy Monday to you and yours. The closing table for the month of October is here, and boy, do we got a show for you. Bay Ragni here, Upper Darby's finest, along with Beyond Upper Darby's finest. I can't believe we're finally making it happen. My good bro from Upper Darby, from the car business, from life in general, Mr. Mike McVeigh from the Negative Equity Podcast, and David Dodge, Chrysler, Jeep, and that whole family of Mopars is here with us this month. We also have CDJR. Yep. We also have sporting a new haircut with a big smile, the one and only Mr. Hub Rigel from Dallas, Texas, who's always here, and the man with the master plan in all of the real estate world, the guy that brings us here every month. From NextHome Brandywine, the one and only Mr. Dan Pizzi. Dan, take it away, my brother.
Thank you, Bay. Here's what I want to know. I want to know about this Negative Equity Podcast. I have to listen to it. Mike, thank you for joining us. Tell us quickly about this Negative Equity Podcast. I love cars. I love these car podcasts. A lot of information. Tell us about it.
Well, Negative Equity Podcast, I kind of got started a couple weeks ago. I appeared on a buddy of mine's podcast, and after it was done, he's like, you probably should do one of these. So I kicked it around. I talked to a couple people that do their own shows, and we're basically going to chop it up about the car business, about what's good, what's bad. We're going to have a bunch of guys. We recorded our first episode, which I'm going to release that tomorrow. With a lot of foul language, a lot of real talk, a lot of things people are afraid to say about the car business life. We're going to cover Delaware County. We'll cover sports. I have some professional athletes, some performers coming on. And it's just going to be a bunch of things you get to hear about the car business and about the backside of things that normally you wouldn't hear. I kind of, going behind the wall with the wizards, so to speak, and getting the real deal on things.
It's great because it also gets you some exposure. People get a little more humanistic side of you, that you're not just this crazy nut car salesman that everybody hates. And it's the same with our business, where you get a little bit of the real behind the person, some information. We found it, I think, 3 years, Bay? We're going on episode 40?
This is 40, yeah, it's crazy.
Yeah,
wow.
So, I mean, we get good viewership, and it's a good way to get yourself out there, bring guests on like yourself to give some information, get some exposure for people, and get us all a little bit, we're all looking for business and see how to separate yourself from the competition,
Absolutely.
Like your business, our business is highly competitive, and sometimes it comes, and you know this, Mike, if they like you. You might be a shit salesman, but if they like you and somebody will stick with you because they like your personality, you get business sometimes.
No doubt. I work with a guy, and this is the God's honest truth. With lightning would strike me if I was lying. He doesn't know a thing about cars. I mean, he doesn't know anything. No. But what he does know is how to connect with people on a human level. And the guy makes well over $100,000 a year, and he couldn't tell you where the charging port on a hybrid was, or where to put the oil. But it goes to show you that if people like you, the only motivation somebody needs to buy is one motivation. And if the motivation to buy is because they genuinely like you, price doesn't matter, color doesn't matter, all those other things don't matter because they like you. And that gets lost a lot.
Yeah, and we talk about it on this podcast. Our tagline for NextHome, our franchise, is humans over houses. Well, we put the people first, right? We meet the need of the people, and then it's almost like your business. If you do it right up front, the business will come. Like you said, price doesn't matter, color. They like you, they're yes and everything to the table, and they're walking out of there with a new vehicle. And you did your job as a salesman, and you gained their trust. And that's the same thing. That's why I was dying to have you on. I know Bay had mentioned you. We couldn't hook up the last time.
Yeah.
But we talk about the car business, just like everything else in this current economic condition. Right, so things are a little bit uneven, to say the least.
You got to call it a downturn. You can't call it anything. It's just a downturn. You have to be positive.
I agree, and I said the same thing too. Like, we're going to bounce back, but right now we're in that muddle area, right, where people unsure. They're not sure whether to spend the money. Tell us. Look, we just talked before we came on the air. I just bought a Volkswagen GTI, and I had the Dodge Hornet. We talked about some of that. Just give us a quick overview of what you're seeing at present with the car industry, as far as how the dealerships are doing, days on market for these vehicles, maybe just quickly, and we'll go into some detail on other stuff. But I watch a lot of stuff, about these manufacturers potentially offering some more incentives to move some of these 25s off the lots as the 26s are coming in like they've done in the past. What are you seeing in the CDJR brand? And, they have their challenges too. They're shifting back to some gas engines and some muscle cars, and some things are shifting there. Jeep is still a huge seller for that old school Chrysler brand. So tell us what you're seeing in your facet there.
Well, I think the first thing we've seen, and I've talked about it a lot recently, is that you have a rise in MSRP. So the price of a car in 2025, we're talking about the same car in 2022 or 2021, is about $5,000 to $6,000 more expensive. You're not getting anything more for the car. You're not getting more equipment. You're actually getting less because manufacturers are now backing down on the freebies. They're backing down on the free oil changes. They're backing down on the things they would throw in. Satellite radio used to be a year, then it was 6 months. Now it's 90 days. So what you're seeing is an astronomical rise in the cost of these cars, but the payment expectations of the consumers aren't rising anywhere nearly as fast. So a customer comes in and their last Grand Cherokee was $46,000 and the new one's 55. Their payment expectations did not go up as much. So they're still thinking, the majority of people walking through the door are thinking $300, $400, $500 a month is what they should pay for a car, which on a new car right now, you're not going to see a payment like that unless you're putting a substantial down payment, which we're talking $10,000, $12,000, $15,000 on a purchase, which leads me to what I've been experiencing for the last 3 years, and I think it's going to continue. Leasing is going to become more prevalent as these cars get more expensive, and people that are leasing now are not people that traditionally lease. People that traditionally lease are the people that are going to come in every 2 or 3 years, get another car because they want the new technology or they want a new car. You're getting people now leasing. I don't even refer to it as leasing anymore. I call it payment management. I can present you with purchase numbers, or I can present you with a way to show you some payment management. This is what it's going to cost you to buy the car. This is what it costs if you wanted to lease the car for 3 years, and you can look at the difference in the payments. People are automatically always drawn to the lower number. Now, the exceptions to that are people that are going to drive a lot. I drive 20,000 miles a year. Some people aren't going to be able to lease, but our store, we rock at about 71% lease penetration. So if 100 people walked in there this month and bought a car, 71 leased it. Those numbers bode well for a store that understands leasing. If you're one of these stores that's on the outskirts of Philadelphia, Reading, Lancaster, and you have old school people working there that don't understand leasing and don't understand the value in having a lease portfolio, having a customer base of leases that are going to come back to you because that's what they're trained to do. After 3 years, they're going to come back for another car. It's almost like a portfolio that you're going to have to call from. And that's what I do. I don't deal with anybody that walks in off the street. I deal with my clients. 21 years, it's a benefit for me. But 71% of these people are going to lease these cars, and you don't know if the car is going to be here in 3 years, if they're going to continue to make the car. And we don't know what cars are going to cost, because if you'd have told me 10 years ago that I would have an $80,000 Wrangler on the showroom floor, when I started in this business, the most expensive Wrangler you could get was $23,500. I have an $80,000 Wrangler on my lot. I have a $90,000 pickup truck. I have $100,000 pickup trucks and $60,000 cargo vans. It's just astronomical. But I'm also a realist, and I look at what the price of eggs went up to. Avian flu. The price of eggs, it was like $30 for a dozen eggs or some crazy shit. I don't need eggs that good. You get all these things that have had this meteoric price rise, but nobody's payment expectations have gone up. And that's where we are in the car business.
Go ahead, Hub. I got 2 questions to that, but go ahead.
Well, there sounds as if there's an echo going on somewhere.
Yeah. Yeah, Dan, it's you, that echo.
I wonder if I can rejoin on my phone. It's my mic in the office, I think. Is it bad?
It's echo. That's why I muted you out a couple of times, because it was echoing so bad.
I was wondering who was throwing me off my own podcast. I get thrown off my own podcast by my own host. Let me see if I can put it up on here. Let's see if we can get up here. I'm going to get out of this and join back in. Hang on.
Okay. Go ahead, though.
It was as if like these are high-end cars for people who are, let's say, real estate agents, and they really need a nice car
Mm-hmm.
to impress their customers, that kind of thing. Is that right?
Absolutely. Absolutely. I mean, you get all walks. Now, funny because real estate agents are traditionally not a customer of mine that leases very well. Like generally, I'm not going to be leasing real estate agents' cars. The guys that I deal with sell a bunch of houses and they're all over the area. Where I'm at, we have like a 3 or 4 county area where they sell a lot of houses. So most of my real estate agents are buying cars, putting a chunk of money down. But again, the nice thing when you're dealing with a real estate agent is they understand the market. They understand everything's rate driven right now, and that rates pretty much killed our business for, I don't know, about 18 months. Now it's starting to come back to earth a little bit. But when the consumer, and I know he'll agree with this, when the consumer has 3 and 4% in their head, they're not trying to hear 6.5. It's just not a conversation they want to have. When you look at a mortgage and you look at the effect that rate has on the payment, and it's the same thing with a car. It goes from I can probably handle that to no shot I can manage that payment. All these people that refinanced during COVID, they're never moving. They're never going to sell that house that they got 285 or 280 or whatever crazy rate. You get people signing their refinance paperwork in Wegmans parking lot in Glen Mills during COVID because they were getting this stupid rate. I saw it with my own eyes. So you got a guy who has a 5-bedroom house in Westchester and his rate's 284. His kids are grown, and he knows even if he sells a house and makes a boatload of money, he's still going to be paying 6.5%, 7%. And a lot of consumers just aren't doing that. They'd rather keep the house. And it's the same thing with cars. I got a guy that he's in a Ram. It's 0% for 84 months. He bought it during COVID. It's got out of factory warranty. He's thinking about a new one. Well, the rate's going to be 6.25% if he goes 84 months on a new truck. So even if everything was equal, his payment's $212, $230 a month higher. Then you get the people sitting at your desk and say, I don't need a new car. I wanted a new car, but I don't want an $800 car payment. And it's across the board. It's not Chrysler, Dodge, Jeep. We have our own cross to bear. There's no doubt about that. They're trying with incentives, and I can tell you, anybody that's been in the car business, our incentive schedule and our incentive programs come out the first of the month. We have a conference call with Stellantis, usually between 10 and 12 o'clock on the first day of the month. And they roll out their marketing plan. They give us the TV schedules. They tell us what the incentives are and what part of the market they're going to attack as far as rebates and programs. So we had that call at the beginning of this month. 3 times since that call, and this is something they do not do, they have come out with what they keep calling late breaking enhancements. They just keep throwing more incentive money at certain cars. Now what they're doing to incentivize dealers is if a car has been on the lot, we talk about days in lot, those are the cars that people generally stay away from. Well, now those cars are incentivized anywhere from $2,000 to $4,000 additional. So if you buy the older car and you're financing and it's $4,000 less than the one that just got dropped off, it's an $80 swing. And what you're going to see is most consumers would rather have that $80 a month less payment, and they don't care about the older car. Same thing, we have a loaner car, a CTP program, which is phenomenal. It gives us another tool, another incentive to further discount the car. And the car only has to have 500-600 miles on it. So we put them in this loaner program. We put 600 miles on the car, which isn't anything. Demos get run to 5,000, and we get another incentive. We can discount the car. And the fact of the matter is, right now in new cars, there's never been a better time to buy a new car when you look at the dollars and incentives and discounts that you can get. But it's not translating because the price of these things has gone up so high that the average American consumer with 2 kids and a mortgage can't afford a $700 payment. I mean, and we're not even going to talk about the luxury end of things, the Tahoes and the Suburbans and the Escalades. You're talking 4-digit payments. I've seen more 4-digit payments the last 6 months than I've seen in 21 years.
I just talked to my guy that I just dealt with, and he said, $700 to $1,200 payments is the norm anymore.
Yeah. I mean, that's pretty. I mean, I'd say I track it. I do. I have a notepad in my phone where I track every car, every consumer, every car, and what every payment was. I've been doing that since 2023. And I can tell you that it's very rare in a week. This week, or today, I'll just go with today. Today, I did a truck with some equity. And when you talk about the perfect storm, when a guy qualifies for every rebate, this customer qualified for, like, pregnant female Marine, just graduated college. He got every rebate. And I got him to 575 on a very basic pickup truck, and it's a lease. It's a 42-month lease, but it's a basic truck. I'm not talking leather. I'm not talking heated seats. I'm not talking I'm talking radio, backup camera, Bluetooth, 4-wheel drive, 575, first payment and tags down. And that was like, to me, was like, wow, that's a pretty strong payment. You go back 3 years, everybody had $4,000 to $7,000 of equity in their trade. I'm pulling people in that are driving basic trucks, putting them in Laramie pickup trucks, lowering their payment $50 a month. And now you've gone to the other end of the spectrum. Now no one has equity. Every car is going back to the lease companies because the buyouts are 37 and 38 grand, and the cars are worth 31. You're going to see, I would bet, I already heard something. One local leasing company in this market in Philadelphia is about to get out of auto lending. I'm not going to blow up their spot, but I was advised on Saturday that one of our local lease companies is out on automotive. And the only reason they're out on automotive is they're a bank. And with the number of leases they did coming out of COVID, they own more cars than they ever thought they would. They assumed that they would ride that wave and the dealer would keep buying the inventory at the end of the lease. We're not buying them. Not when they're 39 grand and they can get them for the auction at 31 grand. So these banks are, US Bank is one that's taking on a ton of release returns. Ally Bank probably owns more cars than the dealers own in the United States right now because the lease programs were so aggressive 3 years ago based on the residuals coming out of COVID. They're off by $10,000, $12,000, $13,000, and we're not going.
That's what my Hornet was with Ally.
Yeah, I mean, they gave you all the rebate. They had a great program on the car. They were motivated to move the car, but these banks are not prepared to own all these cars at lease end. And we're making remaining payments. Like your lease is up in 3 months, your buyout's 40 grand, your car's worth 30. I'm just sending the bank $1,200 and you're walking away from that car.
That's what I did. That's exactly what I did.
You don't have the choice because what happened is COVID and the lack of new car inventory shot these used car values so high that when they came crashing back down, the collateral damage is used car values. Like I can't even. You could always set your watch when a Wrangler came off lease. We get a Wrangler back, 20, 30,000 miles, 2-year-old, 3-year-old Jeep. We knew we were going to keep that car. We knew we were going to buy that from the lease company because we knew we would sell that merchandise. It's a popular car. It has a cult following. Well, they're coming back now 3-4 a day. The buyouts are 34, 38, 43 grand, and you can pick them up at the auction for 25 grand. And the hybrids, I mean, if you were looking to buy a car and get a phenomenal deal on a car, that's where you go. You buy one of these hybrid Wranglers because the sticker price was 70 grand. They sold the car with a $17,000 rebate, so the consumer paid 53. They leased it for 3 years. They got free maintenance while they had it. Now you can buy one for under 30 grand, and you're getting a 20,000 mile 3-year-old car for 25 grand. You cannot beat that. But everybody wanted the hybrid because there was a payment involved and there was a $7,500 tax credit they were getting when they leased it. Now they have no value. Now we're not even producing. I mean, Stellantis isn't even making the hybrid right now. They're not making the Grand Cherokee 4xe and they're not making the Wrangler. What's that tell you? If there's no federal money, they know there's no market. And the used car market, the values of those used ones just continues to drop. But if you're looking to steal a car, I mean, and you know somebody can go get you one and pick the right one, that's the car to buy because they just run forever. Hopefully.
Well, how would the repair be on that? Would we be able to get parts for that very easily?
Well, it's a Wrangler. It's the only thing that's different, and the feds got involved in this with the battery. So the battery has an 8-year, 100,000 mile warranty on it. So that car, just say you bought a 2022, you're going to have an 8-year, 100,000 mile warranty on the battery that has to be serviced by the dealer. That's a federal thing they made them do. So 8 years, 100,000. You get an extended warranty from a reputable company. You can put an 8-year, 100,000 mile warranty, and then you're bumper to bumper. But I'm not saying that to sell extended warranty. I'm saying you want to protect your investment. But if you're paying $25,000 for a car that has a sticker of 70 2 years later, you're really not going to go wrong. The problem with it is consumers all the time now, because COVID got them into this mindset where if I don't like this car, I'll just flip it and get into something else. It's not that easy anymore. It was a fun time coming out of COVID when we didn't have a lot of cars. People all I'd be writing checks back to people for the equity in their leases. We're buying Nissans, we're buying Toyotas. Everybody was getting $400 payments. People were leaving in $70,000 Grand Cherokees, paying $599. Everybody loved it. But what goes up must come down. And I think a lot of people consumers in particular forgot that what goes up is going to have to come down, because it's down now, and it's been down. I'd say it's been dropping steadily since June. Now it did come back a little bit, because
Same with us.
this is the point now where I think you're going to find the lack of new car inventory in 2021 and 2022 is now trickling down to the lack of used car inventory in 2025 and 26. Now you combine that with all of the lease returns we just talked about that are going back to the banks and sitting in parking lots at auctions because they don't want to take these hits. The inventory is going to continue to shrink. And if you can find I saw a stat yesterday I couldn't believe, that people are seeking 100,000 mile, $25,000 cars is the market. That's the hottest moving price point and mileage that they're looking for, under 25 grand and under 100,000 miles. Now, if you think in a realistic used car buyer, I'm looking for a 1-year-old, 2-year-old car with 25,000 miles or so with some type of factory warranty left on it. That's not what people are looking for. If you got a nice car with 100,000 miles and you can sell it for anything under 25 grand, the car will not be there more than a day. I helped a friend. She had unfortunately totaled her car 2 weeks ago, waiting for an insurance check, and she really zeroed in on a used car that she wanted in another dealer, and I told her I would help her. So I did. I reached out to the guy, asked the questions, found out the information on the car, made an appointment. We went in like human beings. I didn't tell him what I did. And I wasn't there to be, I hate that car lawyer stigmatism. Like, I wasn't there to be a jerk off. Sorry if that's a bad word. I'm from Delco. I went with her, and he was a nice guy. I asked him how long he'd been doing it for 2 years. He just missed COVID. We talked about that, and he gave me his presentation. He told me, this is the numbers. And I'm like, well, car's a little bit overpriced. I know where you guys source your cars from. You're a leasing company, and I know you probably had to pay for the residual. It came from New Jersey. It's not inspected. It's dirty. Only has one key. And the kid's just kind of looking at me like, all right, you're hitting me with all these objections. I'm like, she likes the car. She wants to buy the car. Whether I tell her to buy the car or not, that's up to me. But she likes the car. It's dirty. It has one key, and the inspection was up in September. He's like, we'll take care of all that. I said, all right, well, I'll tell you what. Take care of all that. When you get the car ready to be delivered and sold, which it isn't, we'll come back and we'll look at the car and we'll make a decision. So we left, and we went back on Saturday. He called her, not me. And he texted and he said, can you talk? Can I speak to you? Can I call you? So she sent me a screenshot, and I said, you know what? I'll text him. So I texted him and said, you can call me by all means. So he called me, and he was telling me how they couldn't discount the car, but they could give us the etch for free. And I said, well, it's not fucking 1988. So I don't really want to hear about etch. We're past that. We're in the real world now, but you've offended me with that bullshit. So he looks at me and he goes, do you mind if I ask what you do for a living? I said, well, I sell a lot of fucking cars. So, that's what I do. I said, I'm not trying to give you a hard time or be that guy, but your car's about $1,800 overpriced. She wants gap insurance. She's approved through her credit union. She's done all her homework. She's got the $3 grand to put down, and she wants to buy the car. Is the car ready? He said, yeah. I said, all right, we'll go in. We went in, and it's just like any other car dealer. They have a process you have to follow. She wanted the car, but she knew where she wanted to be. And it was a 21.8 car, and she ended up getting the car for $19,999 because that's the sweet spot. What is $20,000 for 72 months at 6.5%? It's going to give you a payment that people don't vomit when they get the bill every month. And that's the reality. Like I said, people's payment expectations have not continued to rise like the cost of cars. I work in one of, if not the biggest Jeep dealers around. Both my sons drive brand new Jeeps. All my friends have them. And I'm driving a 10-year-old Wrangler that I'm pretty much in the process of restoring because I can't justify paying for a car to drive 6-7 miles to work every day and have a $600 payment on a car that I only drive 12 miles a day. It just doesn't make sense. It doesn't make sense that I'm paying for 2 cars that I never drive, but that's my kids, so I guess that's a little bit different too.
Right. But with the guy that works with us, Bill Hansel, he does auto body restoration. I just dropped my wife's car had a little dent in it. I just dropped that off today, and he's doing rust restoration on a ton of the slightly older pickups because they don't want to spend 50, 60, 70,000 to buy a new.
Yeah.
So they're trying to keep what they have.
A diesel truck. So I sold a diesel truck today, and I do a decent commercial business. I mean, I do well. I sell a lot of cars. I'm lucky. Fortunately, I have a great customer base, which includes your host. He's a previous client of mine with one of the baddest cars I ever sold. But
Favorite
This
car I ever bought.
this guy's buying a 3500 Cummins diesel dually, and I know what the car costs. This guy, by the way, Upper Darby guy, that still lives on Guilford Road. So to give you an idea,
Oh,
dude,
God, what happened? Yeah.
That's
dude,
hardcore there.
dude, that's what I said. I said you're an OG, dude. He can
Yeah.
look out. He looks out his house at the old 7-Eleven, which is now a vape
That's
shop.
hardcore. Okay.
Vape.
Hey, and that Cummins diesel's an OG too. Let me tell
Oh
you.
yeah, oh yeah. Well, that payment's $1,477 a month with $5,000 down. Right, right. And you know what? He
Oh,
didn't. And you know what? He didn't miss a beat. You know what he said? I'll pay it off in 6 months. When you need a truck like that for work, it really doesn't matter what it costs. And that's the thing about commercial. Commercial's a different animal. Like my commercial business didn't slow down with the vans and the heavy duty trucks, but you get like my aunt, my uncle. I had my buddy's mom come in. She's paying $331 for a Jeep Compass. The car is 3 years old. It's got 9,000 miles on it. Like she doesn't go anywhere except to the doctors, to church, and the grocery store. And I got to tell her the new one's $490 a month. And I'm making $150 flat. Like I'm not killing anybody because you're just trying to move a car, and our volume is where our bonus is. But you have to hit this little old lady at $480 a month, and you're giving her a good deal. It's not even like you're hosing her. You're giving her a good deal. You're going below invoice. We're losing money on probably. I mean, I guess I don't get into their pockets, but we're probably losing money on 50-60% of the new car deals that we're doing right now. And we're probably overpaying on trade-ins by 10% because we're trying to move the new car. I always go back to it. I say all the time, like, and again, I work my things my way. I'm just a salesman. I don't want to be a boss. You should just make one bad deal. And when I mean that, I just make the deal on the new car. Take the hit, take the loss, trade the trade in the correct way. So then you have an opportunity to maybe remake the money that you lost on the new car. But a lot of dealers are making two bad deals. They're giving people a stupid loser deal on the new car, and they're putting $4,000, $5,000, $6,000 too much into the trade. All you're doing is growing your aged inventory. 16 days from now, you're going to have a new used car that you're going to be 10 grand the wrong way in. And
Like
that's
every
the
one of
struggle.
these podcasts are talking the same way with that, where you're just. I watched that Ray Shefka and his son from Car Edge. Ray just
Yep.
did a whole thing on that. You're just prolonging it, sitting on your lot. You might as well move it. If not, like you said, 60 to 90 days, it's still sitting on your lot, and then you got to move it for even less. You might as well take it and move it, and you're getting paid a lot of times on the amount of cars you're moving. You're being incentivized that way. I'm going to bring Hub in. Hub's always got a million things lined up in his head. Hub, let one of those things out fly at Mike, and let's get you one of your questions in here.
Well,
Hub is very
I did
detailed.
see some videos today where the repossessions are up
Oh,
because
yeah.
a lot of they're people who don't have higher end jobs that are losing their cars, and they don't necessarily have to have that kind of car, but they're devastated. And a lot of Toyotas have been repossessed.
Toyota is a very interesting business model because they are their own bank. Make no mistake about it. There a lot of manufacturers say they have a captive finance company. Toyota is probably the best for that. Now, if you're a Toyota dealer and you're a volume Toyota dealer and you sell 150, 200 new Toyotas, which isn't hard to do, by the way, they make a great product. But you have this Toyota financial partnership with your lender, and this is why I love the dynamic that they have. You get a woman who comes in who's a 454 or 454, 494 credit score. She's not going to budget for a new RAV4, but Toyota will give her a subvented APR, whether that be 8.9, 9.9, 10.9, for up to 72 months on one of their certified pre-owns. So she comes up with $2,000. She has all her proper paperwork, steps, pay stubs, whatever it may be. They're going to give her a shot at 7, 8, 9% in a certified car. Now, number one, it gives the dealership another contract, gives the dealership another finance, and they're going to make their money on the used car. But it also gives Toyota an avenue to get rid of these lease returns, because anybody that's going to come in that's going to be subprime or near prime that can buy the new car, they're going to push them into one of these lease returns or loaners, and Toyota will go to the mat. Like I've had people come into me and say, this deal Toyota got me at 7.90%. And I'm looking at a 512 credit score, and I'm like, I can't touch it. I'm like, if they're telling you the truth, you probably have to go buy that car because I got you approved at 17%. And Toyota does stick their neck out. But the byproduct to that, like Hub just said, is, you can only kiss a toad so many times. And what's going to happen, eventually some of these deals are going to go belly up and people are losing their jobs. I look at the bank that blows my mind is Bridgecrest. And if you're not familiar with them, if you have a pulse and you have a pay stub, they will allow you to buy a car from Carvana or Drive Time or wherever, and they will sell junk. They will sell rusted out, frame damaged cars. They will sell cars that have been reported stolen, cars they don't have titles for, and Bridgecrest will finance you. And you don't have to worry about it. You don't even have to go into a dealership. And guess what? People love it because they feel embarrassed when they go in and they get their credit run. They're sitting in front of somebody and they're a 512 score. But if they do it all anonymously online, they buy the car, they drop the car in their driveway, and then in 9 months when they can't afford it, the anonymity of buying it is the anonymity of giving it back, because a tow truck comes and gets it in the middle of the night and you walk away. And that's what's going on. That's going on nationwide. And these repos, as this goes on, as we get closer to Christmas time, I can tell you, make no mistake about it, repossessions are going to skyrocket because people are going to be looking at their bank going, am I paying this $700 car payment or am I buying Christmas presents? And unfortunately, Americans usually make the wrong decision. So they'll be buying Christmas presents and the car will be getting hit at their grandmother's house or parked in a garage till the bank finds it. That's gonna continue to come because that's a byproduct of interest rates, the cost of cars, the cost of lending. And the other thing is, as you said, people aren't what's the average American median income? 55 grand a person is what it's supposed to be?
It was 68,000 right now. I just looked at it. It was 67 and change.
So if you have a 68,000, you could do this math. And if you make 68 grand a year, what are you going to budget for a mortgage?
Yeah, you're looking at shit. You really can't go above, 1,700, 1,800 a month, really, in order to stay in line and be able to make the payment. And most of the rentals are higher than that, 1,900, 1,900. But really, if you only make 68,000, you're only buying a house and no more than 200,000.
Right. Well, so this is what I'll flip it back to you and tell me if you think this makes sense. Remember what I said about payment management? Well, it's the same thing with that, because guess what? I have young professionals that make $60,000, $70,000, $80,000 a year. And in lieu of buying a shitty little house in a sketchy neighborhood or a neighborhood that they don't want to live, they're renting in an affluent area, and it's a payment management thing at the same time. They're going to keep their 5, 10, 15% in the bank and let it grow.
Correct.
They're going to tell them, oh, wait till rates come down, wait till prices come down. The reality is rates are never going back to 3% for mortgages. So all these 23 to 30-year-old professionals, and my son, 23 years old, graduating from Alabama, he's in that same boat. He doesn't care if he rents or buys. He has no interest in buying. He'll rent, and then maybe later down the road, because this is the same, we're talking about the same generation that's going to get into home buying right now and starting families. These are the same kids that didn't need cars because they would Uber and ride share everywhere. So if they didn't care about owning a car, they're certainly not going to give a shit about owning a house. And if you tell them it's $1,700 to rent a place in downtown Westchester with all the nightlife and the restaurants, or it's $2,800 to buy a nice single home in Downingtown, they're going to Westchester, and it's payment management. Everybody is going to do everything they can to survive whatever this is and however long it goes on. And 1,800 versus 2,700, I don't care what neighborhood you're from, 1,800 always sounds better. It's the same with cars. That's why leasing, like Westchester in particular, and I'm an expert because this is the area I would live in or do live in, renting is all people are considering. Like, people are building brand new houses in Exton. It's a management company. They built 12 townhomes, and guess what? They're renting them all out.
Yeah.
They're not even trying to sell them because they can make more renting it. They paid pennies on the dollar for the land. They built them probably all with builder grade stuff, and now they're charging these kids $3,200 a month for 4 of them to rent a house. The kids are happy because they're thinking, I got 3 roommates, I'm only paying $800.
Yep.
And it's a brand new house with all the tech. They're, autonomous homes, smart homes, cameras and buttons and keypads. And they don't care about owning it. They truly do not care about owning a house. That's what's happened, I think, with this technology. I call it the iPad kids. The iPad kids are growing up now. And the iPad kids, They don't care about ownership. Old school. You're an old school. I'm sure you come from an old school Italian house. You don't lease a car. My mom, you don't rent a car. You don't lease a car. Buy a car. You want to own something. You want to have it at the end. That's a great It's a great argument, except when you say, well, let me ask you a question. I'm going to buy this car. It's going to depreciate 43% in the first year. And the second year, if I want to get rid of it, I'm never getting out of it because I'm going to owe entirely too much on it. The interest rate's too high, and the car's value plummets over year. It's going to be worth a third. That's why people are not buying anything. They're leasing in cars. People are like, well, why would you lease? I lease for a couple of reasons. Protect me from depreciation. Okay. If this car goes and it's not worth anything in 3 years and I lease it, I don't care. If I get rear-ended in it, and it's got a bad Carfax, it's not my problem. I'm under bumper-to-bumper warranty. I have car insurance. At the end of the lease, if I loved it, I have the opportunity to buy it. If I hated it, I return the keys and I walk away. People like options. People like flexibility. They don't want to be committed to a car. And these 84-month and 96-month loans, as a consultant, as a salesman, you're not doing anybody a favor by putting somebody in an 84-month loan in a 3-year-old used car. You're not, because you're never getting them back. You're never going to capture their business again. They're going to ride that car. And if they go somewhere else and they try to trade it in, that salesman's going to tell them what a bad deal they got and how upside down they were and make you look like the bad guy. That's the car business 101. And right now, I couldn't imagine doing a 96-month loan in a car, because you're throwing good money after bad. You finance a 3-year-old car for 7 years or 8 years. It's a 12-year-old car. Like, you're throwing money at a car that's 12. It's going to break. Things are going to go wrong with it. So why not lease a car? Well, the majority of people are.
Let's talk about one more question for me here on the leasing. Let's talk about the money factor and the back end ratio, the residual on the back end. For example, the Tacoma, it has one of the highest resales. So generally, you can really make a decent deal on a lease because the back end resale's high, the residual on the back end's high. For lack of a better word, for the ignorant people that don't understand it, just quickly touch on the little bit higher level on the money factor and the ratio. I do, believe it or not, I leased a lot. And you have to lease the right cars, because some cars that don't have the back end residual, you're going to have a higher monthly payment on it. Just touch on the leasing and kind of how that works briefly.
Well, it's funny because I do this with a lot of consumers, especially ones that I'm educating. Leasing is real easy, and I use round numbers. If you're leasing a car and it's a $100,000 car, not saying we are, but it's nice to dream.
Right.
Your residual on that car, let's say it's a $100,000 Toyota Tundra 1724 edition, whatever that truck is. It's so hot right now. We appraised one today at work, and I could not fathom how much money that truck was worth, but that's a whole other story. Toyota does a very good job with not overloading the market with their trucks. You can see that the dealerships only stock 5, 6, 7, and that's this local area. I'm sure there are dealers that stock more, but by not flooding the market with the inventory, they have a pent-up demand for the truck. A Toyota Tacoma or a Tundra has a 70% residual. What that means, that $100,000 Tundra we're talking about has a 70% residual, means you're only going to pay for 30% of that car over the life of the lease, plus your tax, plus your interest, which would be your money factor. Now, when they have a car like that has a high residual, Toyota Camry, RAV4, Honda Accord, Honda Pilot, Civic, notice the names of the companies and the manufacturers that I named, the cars that are traditionally going to hold their value and have a propensity to stay on the road. It's not anything for you to drive around and see a 10-year-old Honda Accord on the road. But if you see a 20-year-old minivan, a Plymouth, you're like, whoa, where'd that thing come from? So they hold their value, they stay on the road, they have a high residual, which means the customer's obligation is much less. Let's look at the same thing, and we talk about $100,000. We'll do $100,000 Dodge Ram. Grand Wagoneer. The residual is 54%. So now we're talking about two cars that have the same MSRP, and the lease payments are going to be considerably different because on the Wagoneer doesn't have the longevity, doesn't have the higher residual. So that Wagoneer is going to cost you 20% more over the same 3 years. That's the bottom line. Now, if you have a car that overperforms, I'll give you an example of a car that's overperformed. The Toyota Corolla was a car that was a starter car, was not thought to be anything. It was an entry level car. And then about 2013, they introduced a pretty aggressive lease program. And what happened from there is it became a super popular lease vehicle. These were cars that were 20 grand. And people would just go in and write a check and have a car that they could drive for 10 years at 150,000 miles. Well, now the Corolla has a 70% residual, and Toyota knows what they got, because you go into a Toyota dealer and you want one of these, the model is escaping, but it's like a Toyota hatchback.
Yeah.
It's thicker, and there's no discounts, there's no rebates, because they know what they have. What they have is a very good running car with a very good lease program, lease support. If a car doesn't have good lease support, if a car does not show a history of performing well when it comes to leasing, the car's not going to sell. And you can look around, the Ford Lightning's an example. They couldn't give those Mach-E's and those Lightnings away. But guess what? Now they put $20,000 on the trucks, $15,000, and now all of a sudden people are leasing them. But they're only leasing them because the manufacturer, they're probably losing, to put $20,000 in rebates in a car, the manufacturer's probably losing 15 grand. You can't put a $20,000 rebate on a car and not lose. So it's a matter of how much is the dealer going to lose, and then how much is the manufacturer going to lose. The deals that are reported, like when Stellantis reports their numbers, and this is another thing that people don't realize, they're going to report their numbers for October, and they're going to be bad. There's no doubt they're going to be bad. But they're talking about the number of cars they invoiced and sold to dealers. They're not talking about retail sales. They don't release the retail sales. They do a report middle of next month, but they don't release that information like they do their end of month sales report. So Stellantis is going to come out and say, we were down 22% market share, this, that, and the other. But their sales are what they build us. So what do you think we expect at the end of the month? What do you think happened all day today at work? Delivery truck after delivery truck dropping off cars, because they're going to try to push their number as high as they can. So they drop us off 12 Wranglers, 15 pickup trucks. That's 27 cars. If they do it to every dealer in the network, they're going to add another 40,000 sales to what it looks like the numbers are going to be. But my store, real numbers year over year, we're a 253 car, 300 car store. When we're humming, we're not going to get anywhere. We're not going to be even close. I do 30, 40, 50, 60 cars a month. I'm going to be in that 25 range, because it's down, and I'll be at the top or first or second with 25. The leasing, the payments, the interest rates all goes to what else is driving this business right now is kind of like my situation. And I don't know what you guys drive, but I'm just maintaining the car I have. So our service department is just busting at the gills, maxed out, because the guy that would have turned the car in 6 months early needs a state inspection, needs an oil change, has a recall. He's not getting a new car. He's made the decision to ride this lease out to the end because he's paying $350 a month, and he'll pay for the inspection, he'll pay for the emissions, he'll pay for the oil change, because in his mind, even if he spent $800 in my service lane, he's still only paying $350 a month, and they know what's awaiting them at the end of that lease. So you drag it out as long as possible. It's the same thing with people that own their car free and clear. What do I need a car payment for? I can put a transmission in my truck. I can put a windshield in my car. They're going to find it. And what's happening, fixed ops blowing up. Like we don't have enough technicians. Our service department's open from 7:30 in the morning till 9 o'clock at night, and they're working the whole time. Like services, fixed ops service back end is going to be what has to save dealerships at times like this, because this is, in my mind, what I'm looking at. I'm talking nuclear winter, because it's a recipe for disaster. So you have 2026 models coming out, dropping right now, and you have a price increase. And the other thing that happens when the new model year comes out, you don't have any incentives on the 26s, because they put all the money on the leftovers because they want to sell the old ones. Well, you have no incentives, a higher MSRP. 2026s are they're going to be $100 a month more than 2025s initially. So think about it. If you're out looking for a car,
hey Hub,
if
jump in here with some questions, Hub.
Okay. Oh, first off, can you get a little bit closer to your microphone, Dan, or your speaker? Is that possible? Did he freeze?
I believe he did.
Okay. Because yeah, okay, that's okay. We all like ice cream, but he'll be back. But what I was going to ask him was, going to tell him about, we know that mortgage rates can fluctuate, but for a lot of people, the mortgage rate is not a thing that, for some people, they're not so concerned about what the mortgage rate is, whether they're going to buy or whether they're not going to buy. The mortgage rate is not as big of a differentiator, whatever. It's about the tax and the insurance that they're going to have on their house that they have to pay every month.
Yep. Well, it's the same thing here. I mean, that's the other part of this is you go through, you make a deal with a customer on a brand new car. They're all excited. You get them to where they're comfortable with their payment. They call their insurance agent to add the new car. And guess what the insurance agent tells them?
It's going to be a lot of money per month on the insurance.
Your insurance rate is going up about 35%. Why? When they want to know why. Well, the cost of cars is going up. Cost of replacements going up. Cost of parts is going up. And you know, you may have clawed, and we've had it happen. I've seen it happen this month where you grinded it out with a client for 2 hours and got to a number on the car where they're pushing their limit on. They're not even thinking about their car insurance. They call their agent. The agent goes, "Well, you're paying $151 a month. You're going to $226, and your deal blows up." So there are other factors. And interest rate, I can tell you, more times than not, interest rate. And my market's a little bit different. My market's a lot different. My average credit score is well over 700, and average down payment's about $3,000. So those people will just turn around and say, "I'm just going to write a check." I had a guy cash out $67,000 of his 401k because he couldn't pay. He didn't want to pay 7%. So he took out $67,000 out of his 401k to pay the truck cash, and he's taking a loan from his credit union or his 401k for 4%. So you're gonna see what I like to call, you're gonna see more innovative lending solutions. I think you're gonna see more people go outside the box, whether it be a home equity line of credit, wherever the rates are going to be the best and wherever the best value is. But people will do everything and anything they can to find a way to circumvent the rates. But you were absolutely right, Hub. Insurance is something people don't think about. And I tell people when I started engaging in a conversation about a new car, you have to call your insurance, give them the VIN, and see what you're looking at. Because I don't want to get to a point where I'm in a negotiation. Now I'm negotiating the price of your insurance because you told me you had to be $800 a month between your car and insurance, and I got you to $550 on the car, but your car insurance went up $40 a month. Now I'm at $890, and you're telling me I have to do something. I can't control car insurance. And
so Dan, did you hear the question at all? I guess he's frozen again.
He locked up again.
Are you there, Dan?
I'm good. I'm locking up like crazy tonight. I'm here. What was that, Hub?
Can you get a little bit closer to your microphone because you're so your voice, we can hear you a little louder. Because
I'm having a tough night tonight over here. Bad signal.
Oh no! It's all about. It's part of the act. You gotta. That's how it goes.
We're getting a lot of good information from Mike tonight. I know we threw a lot at people, but we got a lot of good information. What was your question, Hub?
Well, the thing is we had talked about it's used to be. It was always the question was what mortgage rate would be required for you to buy a house? What am I going to wait until it gets to be 5?
Yeah, the sweet spot is in the 5% range for our people right now. That's the
but see, here's the thing: is some people don't even think about the mortgage rate at all. They're thinking about what is the tax I'm going to have to pay every month, and what is the insurance I'm going to have to pay.
Right.
Because I don't know. Because insurance has gone up.
What do we got? We got bad background noise there too. We're doing good tonight. Mike made a good point about the insurance because we run into that now too. Because sometimes the insurance throws people out of whack where they can't afford the house, and it was never the case in the past.
Yeah. Well, the other thing, with houses, like my neighbors, they when they bought the house, they offered 50 above asking, but they had an appraisal clause. And the appraisal came in $25,000 short, and the seller paid the $25,000.
Yeah, right now, Mike, we just put one in 310. It was a 280 list, 310. We waived the appraisal contingency. So if it comes in short, my buyer's paying the difference.
Yeah. I mean, it's not. I mean, I people come in. Believe it or not, their leases are up, or their lease is up in 3 months. They have 3 payments left of $600 a month. They come in and they want to write a check and drop the car off. I'm like, well, right. Any reason? Well, yeah, my car insurance went up. Car insurance is probably the biggest thing that people aren't talking about right now. And I don't hear these, the car dealership guy touches on it because he does everything. But like these other guys, you can get through a whole deal and it'll blow up on the insurance aspect because people don't. I mean, you're talking 28 to 35. I'm 51. I've never had a ticket. I've never had an accident. My car insurance, if I told you what I'm paying, you would probably all vomit. But I understand why I'm paying it because this is what it is. We have brand new cars. We have full coverage. And the cost of these cars, I mean, my sons are driving Wranglers that were $50,000, $60,000, and I get it. And the cars they were driving before were $30,000 and $40,000.
Right.
Yeah,
But
and insurance is blowing up the deals, especially in states like Florida and California.
well, New York, and you know, there's another one that's astronomical. Massachusetts, the way they do their tag and title work, you can't get a tag in Massachusetts unless your insurance agent issues it. So you can't even go through the process without going to your agent. Your agent gives you your tags. So in addition to your 35% bump in your insurance rate, you have to go through your agent to get your tag work. So you're already locking in. Once you call him and say, hey, I'm adding this car to my policy, he's got a blank check because
Yeah,
you
but
can't
we're
even get your
talking about
tags.
houses too.
Oh yeah, well, homeowners. What's that up? It's probably got to be up 40%, right?
You got hurricanes, and you got in Florida, you got fires in California,
Well, just
etc.
appreciation. Think about a guy. You know, I have a friend that bought a house for 287 in 2018. It just got appraised because he did some work to it. The house is worth $560,000. His insurance agent's like, "Yo, you got to up your coverage because you're only covered up to like 350. Your
Right.
house is worth 600." So now he's great. You got this house. It's got all this equity. But guess what? Now your insurance premium just almost double because you have a $600,000 house. And that's again, people get caught up in the purchase of the item. They don't start thinking about the insurance of the item or the longevity of the item or the warranty of the item, you know. And that's, you know, people will do stupid things when they're doing things to save money. Waive an appraisal, waive an inspection, and then they think they've made the right move. Fast forward 2 years when the hot water heater goes, or 2 years when there's asbestos or there's rodent damage, whatever it is, you're going to get blindsided. There is no cheap is never good and good's never cheap. And I hate to sound like a cliche. You're always going to get what you pay for. And I think fast forward 3 years from now, a lot of people are going to be heartbroken with the cars they bought, the houses they bought. But you know who won't be heartbroken? All the 23 to 30-year-old people who rented a car or rented a house or stayed in an apartment and banked their money. And I think that's part of what's driving this downturn with the economy as far as retail, homes, cars, things like that. Even cell phones. You know, I talk to people in that business because it's very comparable as far as credit and as far as everybody needing one. And people are hanging on to it. You look around when you go out to bars and restaurants, people are hanging on to that old iPhone. People have that 14 still. They don't give a shit there's a 17. Whereas 5 years ago, we're all lined up sleeping out for the goddamn thing at Best Buy.
Yep.
Now I'm on a 15, and I have no interest in getting another one because it's just another bill. And I think if you look at something to kind of give you a comparison, everybody's got a cell phone, but everybody's not walking around with a brand new cell phone now. And it's the same thing with cars. You know, everybody's going to buy a car, but I think that $25,000 and anything that's going to equal $500 a month is where everybody's comfort zone is right now. If you polled 1,000 people and said, what do you think a realistic car payment is? What would you reasonably expect to pay for a brand new car? People are going to say 500, 600, and NADA is telling you 780 all day.
So we're
Well,
gonna
back in the 50s and 60s, a family might only have one car, but now
Oh,
you
yeah.
got two cars. And in the 50s and 60s, the car had fashionable designs on it. And now
But
a lot of cars, the current cars, they pretty much kind of all look the same.
they do, yeah. But that's, you know, the other thing is, you know, personality is, I think, lacking with a lot of these cars the way they're produced now. There's very cookie cutter, they're very plain Jane. They're not very expressive, and that's why I really do love the Jeep brand, because Jeep, you can kind of do your own thing, like
Yeah, right.
and custom, just make it your own. Like, and you know, like Honda and Acura have a real good thing. Toyota and Lexus, they make a car and then they make a car with tech. It's real simple. You're going to get everything but nav, or you're going to get everything with nav, and it's real simple. That makes it easy, but it also makes every car on the road look the same, drive the same, sound the same. There's no individuality about it, which is why your American car makers have to figure it out, because people like to stand out. When you drive your new car home, you want people to know that you got a new car. you don't want them to think you're just driving the other car. You know, people always come in and like, what color is your car now? White. What are you going to do? I want another white one. I'm like, don't you want people to know you bought a new car? Don't you want people to know?
This leads me to my question finally, because one of the cars I bought from Mike was a plum crazy purple Charger, one of the greatest cars I ever in my life, and Dodge has discontinued the Charger. They went to the electric Charger now, and they just discontinued the Challenger. Two of their biggest selling models beside the Jeep, and thankfully you still have the Jeep, but has that hurt at all, losing those two models out of your brand?
What it's done, and it's funny because I always think about your car. Your purple Charger and Mike Rainey's silver 300 are I tell my celebrity sales, two people that I was really happy when you guys got those cars. And I was just talking to Mike about his car last week. I love that purple Charger. I didn't have I didn't have the stones to drive it, but that was a pretty car. They're coming back out with what they're calling the 6-pack Charger. Okay. So I just went through training for it. It's going to have the 3-liter. It's going to have the 400 horsepower, and then you're going to be able to build yourself up to a 550 horsepower.
Okay.
In the V6. So you're basically going to have the single output V6, and then the high output, which is going to get you 550 horsepower. It's going to come in the coupe first, and then they're going to branch out into the 4-door. So you'll be getting the muscle car back. Now, the caveat to that is they're making the Hemi again. So the Hemi engine's being produced right now, being put in Durangos and pickup trucks.
Okay.
Where it gets hairy is Pennsylvania is a carb state. So we are forbidden by federal law to get the TRX, the Hellcat, the Durango, SRT8, all that we're not able to even order the car because we're a carb state.
Oh,
right. So now people are like, well, what if I order from a car dealer in Jersey and you deal or trade with them? I don't know how that's all going to work. We haven't really even gotten into it. But as of right now, my dealership being in Pennsylvania, I can't order a Hellcat. I can't order a TRX. I can't order an SRT8 Durango. How that changes, how that evolves, I don't know. It's going to be well above my pay grade. But right now, it kind of puts us at a disadvantage. Now, that 3-liter twin turbo, the 420 horsepower or 550, however you're going to get it, it's still nice. I mean, it's not the electric one. It doesn't have the speaker exhaust, which I thought was really stupid. And I'd love a poll on how many true Mopar people they lost when they did the speaker,
right.
the audio exhaust, because if you've ever met a Mopar guy, most Mopar guys don't even change the radio in the car. They don't care about the radio because they want to hear the motor, and they have an audio system that's going to pretend to be a V8. It's just mind numbing to me. And I think they burned a lot of bridges. On the other side of it, they said that the Hemi was dead. They charged a premium for this last call Challenger, last call Charger, these Demons, these Hellcats, these wide bodies. Well, now they're making them again. So all them people that paid that premium and thought they were having a collector's item, to put it in their garage with a trickle charger, now they're going to make the car again. What do you think is going to do to the value of those last calls?
Right.
They're going to plummet. Now, how do you build loyalty? By the value increasing, and they go, I'm going to go buy another one. But if the guy paid $100,000 for a Hellcat 3 years ago when was told it was the last one they were going to make, now they're making them again, and his $100,000 car is worth $65,000. He's never coming back. He's not going to buy another car. And that's the byproduct, again, of these values of these cars plummeting. And there's really nothing you can do about it because they were told one thing. The government was phasing out the V8s and blah, blah, blah. They made a big deal. They produced, 800 of those Demons, and they were $100,000 cars. People were selling them for $300,000, thinking they were going to have a retirement fund because this is a limited edition car, and now they're making them again. So your $300,000 investment might not be worth $90,000, and you thought it was going to be
charging that much.
Yeah, there was a dealer in Vegas. I was watching. He had a couple of them, and sticker on the one was 123, and he sold it for 303, and then another one was 122, was maxed out, and I think he got 313 for that one. This is way when they first came out. You can get one. You can, believe it or not, conceivably you could get one now new for about $50,000 over sticker, which is probably fair, but I don't know how it could be fair if they're making the car again. Because, I mean, don't get me wrong, a numbered Mopar, if you're taking care of it and not driving it and you're making sure it's maintained properly, you're still going to have a nice piece. But everybody thought they were going to go to Barrett Jackson to make $1 million in 5 years.
Right.
It's just not going to happen.
Well, we're over our limit here as a normal time slot here. Mike, wrap this up. Tell us where they can find you. Give your information out. So if anybody wants to go see you to purchase a CDJR product, they can find you.
All right. Well, I'm at David Dodge Chrysler Jeep, located on 202 in beautiful, historic Glen Mills, Pennsylvania. We deliver vehicles all over the East Coast, from Massachusetts to Florida. We've also been to Ohio and Oklahoma. So if you're in need for a car, you don't have great credit, you have great credit, you want to pay cash, you want to lease, you want to finance, I can run your leases in any state. I can run your taxes in any state, and I can put the car in your driveway. And we do not charge you for delivery. And you can always hit Bay up and hit me up on Instagram. It's at MikeMick19380. Cell phone numbers on my card. And I am happy to help or answer questions. And if you need guidance and you're buying a car somewhere else, you want to know if you're getting a good deal, happy to help.
We appreciate a lot of information.
I got to say this. I got to say this too about Mike. And I've known Mike many years. Yeah, I mean, when we started the show, Upper Darby Brothers. But Mike, from day one, when I stepped into the car business and me and Mike connected, and he realized, oh shit, I remember you from the neighborhood and all. Mike is a legit fucking stand-up guy, and I'm cursing now, and the true colors of Upper Darby Bay.
I feel more comfortable. I feel more comfortable already.
But Mike is a true stand-up guy. He's a guy that also, too, not only is a stand-up guy to people he knows, but stand-up guy for the first responders, military, police, everybody involved in first responders, has always stood by their side, done many fundraisers for them, is the number one car sales guy for them, as well as not only the Philadelphia area, but the nation's team. The America's true team, the Philadelphia Eagles. He has sold many cars to the Philadelphia Eagles for many, many years. He is the true car sale to the celebrities, car sales to the first responders, car sales to the neighborhood, car sales to everybody. He's the fucking guy, straight up, bottom line. And that's why I wanted Mike and Dan for years now to connect, because you guys are the same person. Dan's the guy in real estate, and you're the same person as Mike in the car business. Same people.
Appreciate it.
So there you go.
Thank you, Mike. I appreciate you coming on, buddy. Bay.
No problem. Anytime, guys.
Go
Birds.
Take care.
Fly, Eagles, fly, baby.
Go Birds.
Let me know when you come to Dallas.
All right, Bay, get us out of here. He gave us a lot of great information. It was a long program. I hope people got some good stuff out of it. And we're going to bring on guests.
Is he still on right now?
He hopped off. He hopped off.
So,
but you know what's crazy? There's like in a monthly podcast for an hour. We're
still recording.
Yeah, we're still live.
Okay.
There's so much knowledge, car business, real estate business. People think it's easy and you walk into a home, you walk into a dealership, and bing, bang, boom. And it's not that easy. There's so much logistic and numbers and realization.
He gave a lot of information. Yeah, you can flip this back, people, and watch it in segments. I know Mike kind of gave you a lot all at once, but it's definitely beneficial. I know Jody was looking for a car. He gave us a lot of great information. All right, Bay, get us out of here. Until next month, we appreciate everybody listening.
All right, make sure NextHomeBrandywine.com is the place to be. Check us out on the social medias, Facebook and Instagram, Next Home Brandywine. Dan Pizzi is your man for all your real estate plans. My good friend Hub next to me with all the spiritual knowledge. And until next month,
Thank you, Hub.
Stay tuned. We'll see you. Bye.